What is something you deeply regret doing as a child that still affects you to this day?
Being so mean to my younger sister in our childhood. I often wonder how much I contributed to her current mental health struggles. It eats me alive some days.
As a younger sister of a very mean one, do tell her. Mine did in our 30s, and I cried my eyes out of relief, because the child inside you, even though adult you knows better, still feels like there is something wrong with him/her in order to deserve that. And yes, serious damage can be done. It's not easy growing up being hurt by someone who is supposed to protect you. I forgave her, and although at least in our case something is broken forever, we have now the chance to be as close as we can in this new circumstances. Smiley face. I wish the best for your sister and you. And remember that it wasn't your sole responsibility. The adult around should have interfered or taught you better, helped you open your eyes sooner. Main reason I forgave my sister is because she was 7 years older than me but quite young too. And even though I got the worst part of it, I know it hurt her too.
In middle school I jumped from the top of a slide and landed flat on the bottom, hurting my back. Pretty sure I've never recovered.
That's weird. I believe I can pinpoint the start of my lifelong back pain issues to when I was young and pretending I was the Hulk and tried to lift something way too heavy for me to do so. I recall feeling something give in my lower back, and here I am at 50 plus years of age with an ice pack on the same spot, talking about it on the internet. Might be a coincidence, maybe not.
When I was 13 or 14, I saw one of my lifelong friends walking down the street, blank stare with her makeup running. I was on my bicycle racing to get home before my 8 p.m. curfew, so I didn't stop to talk to her. She committed suicide that night, and I was the last person to see her alive. I went through intense therapy after that, as I was filled with guilt and grief. I still have issues with that guilt today, some 21 years later.
Oh my God. This isn't your fault at all. This is terribly sad for both of you. I hope you know that this is not your fault. I wish I could hug you, and her.
Oh, I know it's not my fault. I blamed myself heavily after it happened. Therapy helped. Talking about it helped. Our friend group was really supportive of me as well, which was great. She had numerous stuff going on that no one, including her, had any control over, and it all became too much. She was my first friend I had died, and we were friends since preschool. Probably why I took it so hard.
After every Thanksgiving dinner as a child, my grandpa would put a plate of food together for a man named Mr. Bailey who lived by himself and didn't have family in town. He'd drive over to his house, drop the food off, talk for 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back. I didn't know this. One year after our meal, my grandpa handed me a plate with a slice of pumpkin pie on it and told me to get in the back seat of his truck. I didn't ask questions and hopped in with the pie. We get to our destination and my grandpa opens my door and says, "You have the pie." "What do you mean, Grandpa?" "I ate it. I thought the pie was for me. I ate it in the back seat on the car ride like it was a brownie." Mr. Bailey didn't get any pumpkin pie that year. I still can't look at pumpkin pie without feeling bad about it.
I mean, that's kinda on Grandpa for not explaining the situation. I totally would have gobbled it down too. I took everything to heart. All the insults, all the failures, all the minor mishaps. I couldn't just let it pass me by. It hit me right in the heart, which is why my current mental health leaves a lot to be desired.
Talk to a psychologist. High sensitivity is a known thing, and learning about it can help you see your childhood in a different light. When I was 4, a neighbor girl and I became friends. I invited her over one day to play. We were playing with dog food. It was fake food. Well, she started eating it. I screamed at her and called her nasty and was just chitty. Told her I didn't want to play with her anymore. As it turned out, the poor girl was severely neglected. Her parents never had food, so she was basically starving. It didn't dawn on me until I saw that they were kicked from their home and it was condemned and torn down a year after. I remember I went over to play one time and the house smelled like rotting hamburger meat. There were cockroaches everywhere. It was traumatizing, I cannot imagine living there. I have tried to find a girl via social media with no luck.
I feel you, man. I had a rugby mate. He always got a sandwich from my dad every Thursday, and I got nothing, and I used to think my dad was a prick until it dawned on me. The kid was poor and my dad was being kind, and to realize one of your buddies is struggling, man, I felt so bad. I told my mom and she told me to bring him home to dinner. And from then on, he would visit me often when I was sick or when I had lost someone. When my parents split, he was there to help me cope. True, we weren't the best of friends, and we haven't talked in years, saving a few crossings of our paths in the neighborhood. He passed away last month, leukemia. It hurt me a lot to hear that. He was such a good man whom deserved so much from life. Edit. Thanks everybody for the kind comments. Let me tell you a little about this dude. He had the greenest thumb ever. He brought back to life so many plants, and he loved selling them, nurturing them, tending to them. Truth be told, I thought this guy would outlive me. I kinda feel bad not seeing I got to turn 29 this year. He didn't. This sucks, but at least he's away from all the suffering, and I really hope there's a heaven so I can meet him again, and I hope when I do he's fat as a cow for all of those meals he couldn't get. You deserve it, Nacho.
When I was 12, my mom got drunk one night and told me to drink with her. She was pretty aggressive about it and I was too intimidated to say no, since I had a habit of agreeing to almost anything. I started drinking and she'd regularly supply me with alcohol so she could have a drinking partner. I struggled with alcoholism for over 15 years. I've been sober for over 4 now, but all of my teen years and most of my 20s were absolutely lost. Wish I had been more brave and not taken that first drink. Edit. Wow, I wasn't expecting so many replies. Just want to say thank you to everyone who shared their own experience and offered their sympathies. I'm sorry some of you also had a similar experience. Addiction can feel impossible to escape. To anyone who's overcome their own struggles with alcoholism, I'm so proud of you, and I hope you are too.
When I was 4, the husband of my aunt died. Very soon after his death, the whole family was gathered around in the living room, me sitting across her. I wanted to make her feel better and said, "Don't worry, you will find a new Maddie you will love." The hurt and surprised face of her haunts me even today. I understood I did something wrong, but not really what at that moment. We are on good terms and she is living a good life now. She very likely forgot what I told her that day. I'm probably the only one remembering that conversation.
You were 4. I don't think anyone can really hold that against you. One time when I was 6 to 7, I rode on a 4-wheeler with my older sister. We hit a dip in my grandparents' pasture. My sister fell off and she went under the rear tire. She needed immediate surgery. My grandmother still blames me for it and it has affected me deeply. For years I listened to how my sister almost died due to my negligence.
Your grandmother knows that it was 100% her fault for letting a fucking 6-year-old drive a kid around on a 4-wheeler. That was not your fault. That was your grandparents' fault. Don't let the old bag ruin the rest of your life with a guilty conscience. You don't deserve that.
Yes. Grandma is blaming a small child rather than facing her own FUPS.
Straight up projection. In I believe 2nd grade, a friend of mine and I were really mean to another kid with some type of mental challenge. It wasn't something we did more than this one instance, so I'd call it consistent bullying, but him and I said some nasty things to him on the last day of school. I should have known better and regret it to this day. I have seen his profile pop up on social media, and I do occasionally get the desire to reach out and apologize, but I'm not sure it would be worth it so far in the future. Nonetheless, I really wish I could talk some sense into myself back then. The boy didn't deserve that. Nobody would have.
I was always a chubby kid, but never self-conscious about it until a school-sponsored pool party where a boy in the changing room loudly claimed it looks like he has boobs. I believe this was in maybe 6th grade. Makes me ashamed of my body even to this day, 20 plus years later, even though I'm basically at an only slightly elevated BMI now. It wouldn't solve my self-image issues, but if that dude reached out to me and apologized, I would be so happy. Just the opportunity to say that hurt, but I forgive you to him would feel so good.
Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.